I'm Shanna Johnson. I'm from the city of Harleton, Texas, originally from Sulphur Springs, Texas. I've been coaching 30 years. Started out as soon as I graduated. I started out playing basketball. I got a scholarship to go play basketball at Kilgore College under the great Evelyn Blaylock. I left there and went to Texas A&M Commerce and played there 2 years. And when I graduated from there, I got a call from Evelyn Blaylock to come back and be her assistant. So I was there with her, was able to coach college basketball for 8 years, learned a lot under Coach Blaylock. Awesome lady, awesome coach, awesome mentor. We were the first team to make it into the national tournament. We ended up placing 7th. I was a part of that group that started praying in the middle of the floor after a win or a loss. When I got to Harleton, that was something that I did. And I remember there was a young lady, I won't put her name out there, but there was a young lady that told me she didn't believe in praying and she didn't believe in God. And I loved on her anyway. I just loved on her anyway. And I told her, I said, it's okay. You don't have to. But if it ever get to a point to where you feel comfortable and want to pray with us, the door's open. And she went for a while and not believing in God, and we would talk about it. And every time I would ask her a question, she would always bring something back. Scientist is this, and scientist is the reason I wake up in the morning. And so we just kept loving on her, and by the end of the season, she was leading prayers. There was a time that we had prayer at our house. We have this big giant cross at our house, and we would meet there on Sunday evenings, and whoever wanted to come would come and pray. And she would come, and she was one that was leading some of the prayers. And I looked at my husband, I said, that was one that didn't believe in God. So just love on the people. And I also had one of my kids' father was going to take me to court because I was praying. We pray before the game and we pray after the game. And he was going to take me to court, but my superintendent told me, he said, hey, keep doing what you're doing. He said, I stand behind you, and if he take you to court, he's taking me to court, and we'll go to court together, and we're going to win. So I just keep putting God first and keep pushing it and going with it. I would be what you call a drug baby. No, my mom wasn't on drugs. No, I didn't do drugs, but I was drugged to Sunday school. I was drugged to church. I was drugged to Bible study on Wednesdays. And I was also drugged to the bedroom and got that spanking when I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. But in our house, it wasn't a choice of, do you feel like going to church or do you want to go to church? It was Sunday, and Sunday was church day, and you would get up and that's what you did. You got up and you went to church. That's just the way we were raised, and I carry that with me in the Bible where it says, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get old, they won't depart. That is true. I stand on it. Mom and Daddy brought us up in church. Did I make bad decisions? Yes. Dumb decisions? Yes. Did I do things I shouldn't have done? Yes. But at the end of the day, I knew who God was, and I knew what I needed to do to correct it. And you had this conscience in the back of your head that just beat you. You know that's wrong, and then you try to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to fix it? I joined church, sung in the choir, was a greeter at the door at an early age. And then you grow up and you continue to go to church, but you know God, but your relationship is not really what it need to be. So in September of 98, at Marberly Baptist Church, they had it was a play called Heaven Gates and Hell's Fire. And that's when I met Jesus. Well, I knew him, but that's when I came into a relationship with him and started living for him the way that I was supposed to be living for him, doing the things that I was supposed to be doing. Ask you this, if God only blessed you with, if he only blessed you with what you prayed for yesterday, what kind of blessings would you get? If he only blessed you with what you prayed for yesterday, or what you thanked him for, let's put it like that, what you thanked for yesterday, what would your blessings be? So we do a deal at Harleton High School called Real Talk, and I invite out, it's just for my girls, and we come in and we do real talk. And you would be amazed at the things that these kids are going through. You know, some of the people walking the hallways think, you know, that's a rich family. They are well-to-do. They don't have any problems. The devil is a lie. These kids are going through some things that mama don't know about, that daddy don't know about, and I do everything in my power. I pray over them, lead them to Christ, try to give them the best advice and be the best mentor that I can be. Our young people are hurting. They won't go to mom, they won't go to dad, and they're trying to go to their peers to get the answers, and the peers aren't always in the shape that they need to be in to give them guidance. So if your kids ever tell you that they want to sit down and talk, sit down and listen. A lot of times we want to take over the conversation and tell them you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't. You need to listen. You need to listen. You know, when my baby was cutting herself, I didn't know. I'm right there in the house and I'm mom and I think I know it all. I got it. Didn't know. But I thank God that there was one of my coworkers, that there was a friend, a teacher that she could go to, talk to, that came to me and opened my eyes. And when I tell you that was like being shot in the chest with a shotgun, because I'm right there. But now that I know, when she has this look, I already know, okay, what's going on? I already know when that anxiety hits. And I tell my young people all the time, they talk about how depressed they are, and this depression is a spirit. It's not a disease. It is a spirit. And we have to pray that stuff off for our kids. And we have a lot of parents that don't want to pray for their kids. I pray over my kids before they leave that house every day. I plead the blood of Jesus over them, because believe it or not, people can believe what they want to. Spirits transfer. And you walking down that hallway, you don't know if the people you're walking down the hallway are saved. You don't know if they go to church. The people that you're sending your kids into that school every day, are they Christian people? Are they not Christian people? Pray over your children. I can honestly say I work in a Christian environment. My superintendent, Mr. Ratcliffe, is a Christian guy. My athletic director that's over me, he is a Christian guy. And that my principals, I work with Christian people. We're allowed to go in and we're allowed to have SOC, Students of Christ, and the coaches get together and they do their Bible study. So that is a blessing, a blessing, a blessing, a blessing. Pretty much, we've had some ups, we've had some downs. February the 26th, our life got flipped upside down. My husband was coming in from Diana. He was leaving Kevin Hawkins' place, coming in from Diana. And as he was topping the hill there, coming down the hill out of Diana, there was a little 9-year-old girl standing behind a truck that he did not see. And the mom was standing on one side, she was standing on the other. And as he topped that hill, the little girl had just got her fingernails painted. She was all excited about her fingernails and she wasn't paying attention. And she was going to cross to check the mailbox for mom. And as he was topping that hill, by the time he got even with her, she stepped out in front of his truck, hit her, slid her probably 100 yards. And then he called and he said, I just hit a little girl. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, he's in a parking lot. He's backing up. He kind of bumped somebody. She's good. He said, no, baby, I just hit a little girl. From my house to the school is 7 minutes. From the school to Diana's school is 12 minutes. I left my house. I made it to Diana in 5 minutes. And when I tell you, that was a changing point in all of our lives. You could hear mom screaming. You could hear my husband screaming. The emergency workers was working on her. And at that point, I thought, okay, so everybody was going to the hospital. And then I remember the state trooper coming over asking my husband if he was going to the hospital. And he was like, well, I would like to. He said, well, we don't know where the dad is. We haven't seen him. We don't know how he's going to react. It's probably best if you go home and you wait for me to call you. So at the time, we try to get it together. We get home and the mom is texting my husband saying, it's not your fault. I don't want you to take that as your fault. It was just a freak accident. We don't hate you. And I remember the grandfather coming over, just laying his head in my husband's chest, just crying and telling my husband, you know, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And then we were there. We were just kind of sitting and kind of everybody staring at everybody, not knowing what to say. And then we get a phone, or no, he gets a text message, and then he calls the state trooper, and the little girl passed about 6 o'clock that evening. That was devastating, devastating. And my husband kind of went into depression, and, he was like, I don't know, I'm supposed to meet with these kids on tomorrow. What do I do? I said, you have to go. And he was like, I don't even know what to say. I said, just go and allow God to use you. He will use you. He will take you through it. And he did. He was able to get up the next morning and go to work. And the kids that he was supposed to meet with in Beckville, they already knew what had happened. And so they kind of mentored him that day. They just kind of wrapped their arms around him, loved on him, and that helped a lot. And as time went on, it brought the two families together. There was, when we do our big youth explosion, their family comes and be a part of our family and help give out backpacks and different things. And it was exactly a month and 2 days later, I was taking a group of my track students. We usually go out and have a team eating before our track meeting. It was on a Wednesday, and we were going out, and we were headed to IHOP, of all places to eat. That's where we were headed. And as we come off of Alpine and went down that ramp to get on the loop, my phone rang, and it was the doctor's office. And Ashanti answered my phone, and she said, Mom, it's the doctor's office. I said, okay, give it here. And I answered the phone, and I'm talking, and he was like, well, I want you to know your test came back, and you have breast cancer. And at that time, everything in my head was just going 100 miles an hour, and I'm saying, okay, yes, sir, okay. And he was like, do you have any questions? And I had 1,000 questions, but I had a van full of kids. And so I was like, no questions at this time. I will call you later. Just kind of get him through it. And finally got him off the phone, and I'm driving, and Shanti looks over at me. She said, what was that? I said, oh, that was just a doctor. She said, what did he say? I said, he didn't say anything. She said, Mom, on your face, tell it all, and I need to know what he said. I said, okay, we'll talk when we get there. So we got there, and the kids got Elijah out and got them all in there. And so she said, what did he say? I said, he said I had breast cancer. And at that time, she broke and she started crying. I said, wait a minute. We're not going to cry. We're in church every Sunday. We're in church every Wednesday. And the God we serve is bigger than any cancer in my body. He is bigger than any cancer in my body. And I'm going to stand on it, and I'm going to roll with it. And I'm not going to lean one way or the other. I'm going to stand on it. The God we serve is bigger than any cancer. So then I said, you go on in, and I'm coming. I need to call Patrick and let him know. And so I called him and let him know, and he took this big breath, and then he just got silent. And he was like, where are you? I said, at IHOP. He said, I'm on my way. So then he hung up, and he came, and we had a moment. I never really broke down and cried. There was times I felt like I wanted to cry, but I also felt like if I cry, that makes me weak. And I've said that the God I serve is bigger than any cancer, and I got to stand on that. I got to have faith in that, and I got to walk in that. I can't be one way 1 minute, and the next minute, okay, God, I'm having a pity party, and then on this side, okay, God, it's in your hands, and then keep taking it back. And so we made it through that. I made it through surgery. I made it through my radiation. Thank God I didn't have to have chemo. Made it through my radiation. July the 28th, I am cancer free. I got to ring my bell. I'm cancer free. And I still stand on that every day. I walk in it. I have to take medicine for the next 5 years and check up every 6 months. But I stand in that. It was the Mother's Day after that. I remember getting a card from my daughter, and she told me, Shanti said, Mom, I want to thank you for showing me what faith looks like. And then that was the best gift ever. And we walked in that, and we dealt with that, and God was good through all of it. Then it was a couple of months later, our house was filled with mold. My husband got really sick, and we were in and out of the hospital, 20 trips to the doctors and back, and couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. They put him in the hospital, they run all these tests, and they do all this stuff, and just couldn't figure what was wrong with him. And finally, I just said, babe, we just need to start praying, and we just need to start rebuking. And after that, we had to end up getting out of the house. We would end up homeless for about 4 months. Stayed in hotels as long as we had money ran out, and we were going from my sister's house to his sister's house to his mama's house, and 5 of us trying to be in a 1-bedroom house. And I know we were frustrating them, they were frustrating us, and but God made it through. It's a lot of people out there that don't even know that we were homeless. There were days, I kept on, kids never knew. The only time I had to get on the kids that we were at work at track workout, and they were whining, and I said, wait a minute, everything that I've been through, and I'm standing out here in this hot sun, and I'm taking these chemo pills, and my hair is falling out, and I'm doing all this different stuff. The least you can do is get through this workout. And I only had to mention that one time. And after that one time, they came, they did what they needed to do, and we made it through being homeless, and God has blessed us with a new home, and it made us stronger as a family. It made us stronger. My kids are stronger. When they get to going through stuff, they'll say, quick, mama, we need to pray, or this is happening. And there's times when they'll come along and they'll say, mom, this is a bad spirit in this house. And there are times we're up at 3 o'clock in the morning. If people would just walk in, or if you were fly on the wall, you'd be like, them Johnsons is losing control. We would be praying and rebuking, and when they go through stuff, they know how to pray. They know how to pray. They know God for themselves. They are saved, and they live for God. And it's funny when we're out, like we were on vacation, and they were mad because we didn't get back home in time so they could go to church. And so you got one listening to church. They got them earphones to this. Mom, we listen to church. Okay. So they take their notes and they do what they're supposed to do. God has been good to us. Sometimes we go through things and we wonder, God, where are you? And I come to find out, instead of saying, why God, and why us, why not us? The COVID brought us closer together as a family. Went through some things. I lost a brother to COVID, but in the midst of it all, we're still here, and God has work for us to do, and we love kids, and we get out and we try to do what we can for kids and push them in the direction of Christ, because at the end of the day, without him, looking back on our situation, without God, I don't know if we would have made it. And I looked at my husband and I said, I don't know how people do it that don't know God. I'm having a hard time and I'm struggling, and I know him. So not to know him, I don't know how people do it. God has been good to us. He's taken us through some things. He allowed some things to our attention. He's allowed things to happen that draw us closer. And my walk with God is truly not where it should be, because you could get better with it every day. And that's my goal, to strive to get better and better every day. I'm a work in progress, just like every one of you. And I love God, I love people, and I love kids. And if God showed you the way he see you, what would he see? What would you see? So if he showed you the way he sees you, because there's times we can go and we do things behind mom's back, behind dad's back, and what would you see? And I'm going to leave you with, if God was here and asked you, what have you done for me lately? What would your answer be? God bless you.